everybody, this is Tony DeMakis from Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales and the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. And this is my friend.
I'm Justine Ewald from TMA.
And we have an exciting new video series for you. It's all about manufacturing and what takes place in Illinois.
We are going to meet the people that run these companies. We are going to get on the shop floor and we are going to see what it takes to work for manufacturing.
Manufacturing is a thing in Illinois that more and more people are trying to get involved in. And so we're gonna find out the who, the what, the why, and we're gonna get put to the test and see if we can actually do the jobs that the people inside are doing. Where are we today?
We are in Prairie Grove, Illinois at Alliance Laser Sales and the Laser Development Center. And I'm a little scared. We got some activities today and we're gonna be put to the test like Tony said.
Let's do it. I can't wait to see what they're going to have us do today.
I hope I beat you.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony DeMakis with Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, your mold makers who don't build molds. That's right. We do all the other things that mold makers need help doing. So polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance, all those things that you don't have time to do or you don't have the people or the resources to do because you're busy building molds, right? Let's face it. The tariffs are a good thing if you're in mold making, right? They're forcing people to bring things back home and to do things here where we think we should. And what that means is you're going to have less time. And when you have less time, you need more partners. We want to be a partner for you to help you do those things that you need done. And so that's what we're here for. We also build and sell laser welding and laser engraving equipment for mold repair, for automation needs. If you're doing production welding, any of those things, we can help you out. That is my short elevator pitch. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to learn about what manufacturing is all about. And that's what this show is. This show is dedicated to people that want to know about manufacturing, what's happening, the successes, the failures, the ups, the downs, the challenges that we all face and how we can learn and grow together to get better. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. Just warning you, we're talking about change of plans and how that's a real thing. And what to do when your plans do change. And so we're asking you to sit with us, talk with us, enjoy the conversation with us. This is a live show for better or for worse, which means that sometimes things go well and sometimes things don't go well. But the good news for you is if you hear something that we're talking about and you want to share your thoughts, you want to get your voice heard, you want to be part of the conversation, you don't have to just sit there and think to yourself, man, I wish they would talk about this thing. You just ask, you put it in the chat and we will discuss whatever it is that you want us to talk about, within reason, right? A couple things. I will be going out to the AMBA conference later today. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They always do a fantastic job. Michelle will be there. Kirby is already on his way there, which is great. It's too late for you to come join. But in the future, if you're a mold maker, you should be there. If you are a mold maker and you're not part of the AMBA, my question is why, right? Why are you not part of the AMBA? You should be. Why? Because it is the American Mold Builders Association. It's really, really important for all of us to be supporting each other. American made matters for so many reasons. And we need to keep supporting those things together. Our laser welding machines are American made. We build them here in Prairie Grove, Illinois. But it's not just about building the equipment. It's about finding ways to give back. And so for every machine that is purchased, we are giving a portion of that sale to the Tim Tebow Foundation to help end human trafficking. We think it's a horrible thing. And we want to continue to try and give back in any way that we can. And so that's just one of the things that we're trying to do. So if you're going between two companies and you say, what's the difference between company A and company B? Well, company A, for Alliance, gives back. They care about the community. They build their stuff here. It all matters. And so we want to do that with you. We want to do a demo for you. We want to show you what we can offer and find out how we can make a difference for you and your team and your community. And so that's that. And then we got one more thing to talk about before we get things moving. But where did I put that? Oh, y'all are thinking he's supposed to be a professional at this. I have you fooled. It's not the case. We just make it up as we go along. But I can't find that one. So alas, it'll be fine. If you are a coffee drinker, go to shopfloorcoffee.com and get your coffee. Mike is an amazing guy. He has great coffee from what I hear. I don't drink coffee, but everybody else loves it. And they give back to the community as well. Another good reason to support them. So shopfloorcoffee.com for all you coffee drinkers out there. And I know there are a lot of you. That promo that you saw in the beginning, that's Justine and I. We are doing a new show called Make Manufacturing Fun Again, where we are going into factories in Illinois, members of the TMA, Technology Manufacturing Association, and we are finding out the who, what, where, when, why, and how they're building the things that we all take for granted and use every single day. We have a new YouTube channel called, you got it, Make Manufacturing Fun Again, where we're putting all that out there. Every single time we go out and visit a shop, they're showing us who they are, why they do what they do, how they are growing, the team that they have, why manufacturing is a great career choice. And then they're putting Justine and I to the test to see which one of us would be the better employee. It's been a ton of fun. We filmed 4 of these things now. The first one is up at YouTube and you can check it out. And the rest are coming out very, very shortly. So all of that stuff is a ton of fun, but that's not what you're here for. You're here to talk to Haley. So I'm going to bring Haley in. Haley's somebody that I've been talking to and following for a while. And yeah. I mean, we've gone back and forth on LinkedIn a few times and said, let's do this thing. Let's have you come on the show. And it was like, we were good for a little while. And then you've had some career changes and some life changes and stuff happens. And here we are.
Yep. I must say, before we get into things, this meeting today was all God. It literally was all God. So to give you all a backstory, if you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, social media, like making videos is not a problem for me. I can get on and talk, but I have a fear of speaking live, and it's more of I have cognitive issues because of neurological things. And Tony came to me, and I know it was fear of me running from his podcast. So we need to be confirmed, and I'd cancel back out for whatever reason. And then this morning, before Tony had even approached me, I had put out a LinkedIn post. I was getting ready. I was going to go to the gym. I was like at the mirror, and I was like talking to myself, like, don't be like, what are you like, put yourself out there. Like, you're not scared. You're Haley Rochelle. Like, and, so I was sitting there having a conversation with God. I'm like, God, I feel like you've been pulling me into speaking. Like, I have a story to tell, like discipleship, and I feel like you're pulling me to speak, and I have a fear of speaking. And so no sooner than I say that, I was telling God, I'm like, whatever you have for me, I trust in you. Tony messages me and says what he says, like, great content, glad to see you on here. Have you ever considered, coming back or doing the podcast? And asked me if I had time to chat today at 1:30. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do. Like, let's catch up. I'll do it. And then he writes back, he goes, well, what about just like a conversation or the podcast? And I was like, God, this is you.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Before I back out, like, let's do it.
No, I thought it was great. Right. And that's that idea, right? Like, and that's where that idea came from of plans change. Because, months ago you were set. And then, like I said, different things happened in your life. And you said, listen, I'm sorry, I just can't do this right now. I was like, fine, that's cool. Thank you for letting me know. You were awesome about it. 'Cause you were like, I'm sorry to leave you high and dry. And I'm like, you're the first person to ever be concerned about that. So thank you for your kindness in that regard. And, originally, even today, it was, let's have a conversation. Let's chat. And you said, and I asked you, like, do you want it to be live or pre-recorded? And you were like, let's do pre-recorded just in case.
Yeah.
And then like an hour later, I just said, are you sure? And you were like, no, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And like throw fear to the wind and just go all in, right? Balls to the wall. Yeah. Let's just see what happens. And the reassuring thing is nobody watches this. So we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
It's no big deal. And just to kind of give y'all a backstory, the reason why, like with the cognitive issues, it's not that I'm afraid of people. I don't get embarrassed easily. It's more of formulating sentences. Like the cognitive, like there's a delay sometimes. And so when I'm trying to think of things or retract my memory, like it's sometimes hard to get things out. So if y'all see me stumbling, just, oh, there she goes.
Listen, we are a grace-based show. If anybody watching this wanted perfection, they would watch something else. That is a promise. That's a promise. If you are with us, like I said, this is a live show. We want to give you free promotion and free advertising and free mentions and all that stuff, right? So just go ahead. All you have to do is put your name and your company in the chat, and we're going to say hello to you. David Cruz is there. Blaine Cruz is there. Kraus. We got Cruz and Kraus. Wow, that's crazy. And it's great. So you guys keep throwing that in there. And if there's something that you want to talk about, we will dig into those things. So Haley, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for taking that move and saying yes. A lot of people probably know you or have seen you because during COVID, you were posting all kinds of things, right? Like you were out there when manufacturing was in a really weird spot and the world was in a really weird spot. You were working for a company and you started posting things that were unique to that time.
Yes. So at the time during COVID, I was working with Rogue American Apparel and Invader Coffee. So you guys might know Wes Whitlock. He's the owner of both of those companies, and I was the director of operations for that. And that was a wild time. So Rogue American Apparel is an apparel company, and we were like the anti-mask, whatever. But people were coming to us, construction workers, blue collars, people in the oil industry, like everywhere. Like, we can't go back to work unless we have a mask. So we, got with the hat manufacturer, some of the shorts manufacturer that we used, all made in the U.S. too. So it was creating American jobs, and we made masks, even though we did not agree with them. And I tell you, that was a wild time fulfilling all those orders. My son, single mom, I had my kid, bringing him to work with me, trying to do the online learning and trying to work. And it was just some crazy times. But during that, I was thankful that I had the role that I did because I could be myself. And LinkedIn, that's when my LinkedIn kind of started to grow into kind of what it is now. And I'm thankful for, all the support. I don't like to call them followers. I like to call it supporters because it's all, people who support me. They support my Haley Rochelle website. Any endeavor that I put out there, they support. And so anyways, I would start putting stuff out, and I already had some of the content anyways, the pictures just from, promotional things with Rogue American, the guns and, the weightlifting and all the things, and just slap some of my opinions in the caption, and it just started sharing like wildfire, and it grew like thousands of supporters like in a matter of time.
I think it was really interesting at that point, and even now, right? There are so many people that are told and taught that they need to be vanilla, right? Like, don't offend anybody. Don't really put your opinion out there. Don't do too much. Make sure that everybody can find some balance or some purpose in the message that you're trying to send. Yeah. But it's really boring.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem nowadays. Everyone's so worried about offending people that we have changed ourselves as a society. Like, oh, can't say that. How I tell my 12-year-old son, if you are offended, that's a choice. Being offended is a choice. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you choose not to allow somebody to offend you, you can't be offended.
Exactly.
The opinions of others don't really matter.
No.
Right? I've got this picture on the back of my wall of a lion standing in a field of sheep. And one of the meanings to it is the lion has no time for the mewing of the sheep.
Yep.
Like, no concerns. Like, lions are going to lion. It doesn't matter what everything else around you is happening. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to let the noise get in. You just be the lion with purpose that you are.
Yep. And also too, I think, I could go off on a sidebar on this. If you follow some of my content, whether it be social media or LinkedIn, I've talked a little bit about it on LinkedIn, the anti-feminist stuff movement. Like, I feel like that now, I do see more people, maybe it's the algorithm kind of changing my social media on what I see, people
Sure.
speaking out about it more. But that's something I really have used, surprisingly, TikTok as a platform, getting that out there, making women respectable again. I'm the first one. I've been working since I was 15. I'm very independent. I'm all like, I could go throw some weights around and, then put on a dress and go to dinner and be fine, like do all the things. At the end of the day, I feel like women need to be respectable again in the sense of the toxic femininity that's not talked about. And when you go back to the whole being offended, and I feel like it all just ties together, and I could go on a whole tyrant with that. But
I think a lot of it is really good stuff to dig into. And I want to touch on some of that. So your background is pretty fascinating.
yeah.
So did you go to school?
So I graduated in 2005 from high school, and I stayed around and went to a local like community college for a half semester. And then, it was kind of, I'm from Decatur, Illinois originally.
Okay.
And I just felt like, like none of my brothers had went to the military. I'm the only girl, 3 brothers. And actually no one besides an uncle was in the military at that time. And I was like, what? My dad always told me for college, he's not paying for it. It's either academic, sports, or be all you can be. Well, academics, I didn't really like. I was an average student. I should have applied myself more, but so I was like, okay, softball. I got into a car accident, broke my pelvis, so that ruined my chance at trying to get a scholarship. And so I was like, the be all you can be. So I went and enlisted in the Air Force and spent 7 years as a medic active duty. And that's kind of what started. So I kind of did a little bit of college classes then while I was active duty. And I'm actually now using my GI Bill. I'm getting my bachelor's as we speak. So
good for you. That's awesome. So when you decided to be a medic in the Air Force, what was it? I want to go to the Air Force and I don't know what I want to do in the Air Force, or was it I'm going to go to the Air Force? I want to be a medic and I don't know how to become a medic, so I'm going to go to the Air Force.
Well, I wanted to go to the Air Force. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I know I loved the medical field. Like when I was a little girl, my mom was a surgical tech. And I remember like opening her medical books, like 5, 6 years old, like looking through it, always fascinated with that stuff. So I knew medical.
Sure.
I kind of got lied to by my recruiter. It was a whole like thing. I go to the recruiter.
We'll go with misled.
Yeah,
lied to just sounds
There
so
we go.
harsh.
Misled. I go to the recruiter. I sign up. I was put in as open general. So those military folks know that could be anything. That means you were put at whatever the needs of the military. So at the time before I joined the military, I was loading trucks at UPS, loading and unloading trucks. 19 years old. So I was in pretty good shape. I was strong. I could lift the weight, the minimum requirement for like security forces, which is police, military police, firefighting, and all that. So I go into MEPS at St. Louis. They put me down as open general. I get to the 3rd week in basic training, and they're like, oh yeah, Trainee Lawrence, open general. I was looking at going to security forces, which is the MP, or firefighting. And I was like, no. I have a job. The recruiter, we signed this paper. He said I was going to be a medic, and they didn't believe me. And I was like, no, my mom knows about it. They gave me a 2-minute phone call to call my mom during basic training the 3rd week. I don't know what made her keep this paper, but she's one of those women that has a file cabinet that has everything.
Yeah.
Like alphabetical order. She had that form that the recruiter and I signed.
Okay. And
it showed that I was promised this job, leaving on this date, going to this place, for training. And sure enough, they had her fax it over, because back then in 2006, it was fax machine stuff. And he got in trouble. I don't know what happened. They gave me an opportunity if I wanted to leave basic training and go home and void my contract. I could, but they were going to give me the job if I chose to stay. I chose to stay, and the rest is history.
So from there, you became a medic in the Air Force.
Yes.
Okay. How was that?
It was really cool. Like some of it I feel like is a blur. Some things I don't really recall until someone brings something up. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that scenario, or I remember that, staff sergeant, or I was stationed at Eglin. I went to Biloxi. I went to Shepherd for my initial training, became a EMTB. You get your EMTB certification. Then I went to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. So this was right after Katrina. So it was cleaned up for the most part, but there was still like some devastation.
Yeah.
And, then from there, I got stationed at Eglin Air Force Base, and I started off in the intensive care unit. which they were a little hesitant having a brand new airman, coming into the ICU.
Sure.
And I ended up loving it. I was a preceptor, so I got to teach some of the students. I absolutely, that was my favorite part of my time in the Air Force, was the ICU and getting to like be bedside with customers. And I'm a talker, getting to talk to the patients if they weren't intubated, and seeing some, older folks pass away, but getting to be there, with them before it happened. And then I went to Iraq in 2009 and worked in the EMEDs there in the emergency room, and then came back, and then I did some instructor duty, assistant course supervisor position for the career field. So basically the on-the-job training that I went to Biloxi for, it was that. So that was pretty cool, getting to kind of mold like the next generation of Air Force medics. And then after that, at the time, my husband, he got orders to Luke Air Force Base. So we PCS to Luke Air Force Base, and I worked in flight medicine clinics. So I got to deal with all the flyers and the pilots. And, at that time it was a little hectic because that's when all my health stuff was starting to happen and unfold. So it was a little chaotic, but looking back, I really miss working with the flyers and working in that type of setting and the people. And then I chose to get out, and and so then it kind of just led me on to the path where I'm at now.
David Cruz says, thank you for your service. And I agree with
thank
him.
you so much. Thank you.
I have the utmost respect for everybody in the military. It's not my jam. I choose to be in fields where nobody wants to kill me.
It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but
I respect the hell out of everybody that does it. And I'm very, very grateful that I don't have to. I just don't, I don't like when people are mad at me, much less trying to kill me. That's an issue I have. I tend to be a people pleaser, so that would be hard for me.
Well, what's so amazing? I actually was joking with a friend of mine the other day. What's so crazy that I did so well in the military, because I don't like to be told what to do.
No kidding.
I don't like to be told what to do, but I excelled, in the military. And I remember laying in bed, basic training, like the first night, you're laying there, you hear sniffling, people like in their beds, like crying, and I remember thinking, what did I get myself into? But if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd do it again.
That's amazing. How so you finish your stint in the Air Force.
Yes.
And then from there, where do you go?
So we were in Arizona at the time, and so my son was little. And actually, I was out processing at the time. Like, I'd made my choice. My son was little. I couldn't stand the thought of having to leave him. And I know I made the right choice, because while I was out processing, I got asked if I wanted to extend, because I got orders, or asked to get orders to Afghanistan for convoy duty. And my son would have been about 9 months old when I would have left. And I'm like, I'm making the right choice. So I get out. That's kind of when I start getting into the fitness. So it all kind of runs together. The fitness, the health stuff is starting, or had started, but more things coming.
What were the health things for anybody that doesn't know?
So I have Graves' disease. So that was the first thing. So I had my thyroid completely removed. You could see the scar right there. Had that completely removed. And then during that time, when I was out processing, I had to do like my whole physical for the VA stuff. They had found that I had a hole in my heart, which I knew I was in like funky rhythms. I would tell the doctors and it would get, overlooked. Well, you're healthy. It's your body adjusting to no thyroid. And I had a hole in my heart. So I was having little mini trans ischemia attacks. Okay. So they're like little strokes basically. And then I got that repaired, and then symptoms of MS started, multiple sclerosis. So it took me 3 years to get a diagnosis with that. And again, as always, you're healthy, you're young, it's your body's adjusting to this, to that. And so I had to be my own patient advocate and push for answers. And it was a long road, exhausting road, but.
What did you learn through that?
Honestly, learning through that, I would say to learn to voice to others, like when you need something. I'm very bad about allowing people to help me. I've always been very independent. And I remember talking to my parents, one time, like joking, like my younger brother, like, oh, hey, you guys always help him, And I remember my mom had joked. She's like, well, we've never had to help you. Like, you've always been so independent. Like, we've never had to check on you. And I remember thinking, well, strong people still need help too sometimes, Yeah. But I think if I've learned one thing, I'm much better about opening up to people and allowing people to help me whenever I need it.
That's awesome. And that's
Yeah.
a hard thing, especially when
It is.
you are a strong person and you're usually the person that's there for other people.
Yes.
It's hard to be able to ask for that help when you need it.
Yeah. Yes.
So the health stuff starts for you, and then you got into fitness. So like your life just keeps changing, right?
It
So
does.
as we're talking about this idea, this big concept of like change happens,
Yes.
your life is changing throughout all of this. So the health stuff happens, you leave the military, and then you get into fitness.
Yes. Yep. So that's kind of when the whole powerlifting stuff started. I knew like I didn't want to be, so I'm diagnosed with the Graves, have my thyroid removed. I get a gym membership at a local gym close by, which I'm looking back, it was the best gym for a new female, like in the gym, like lifting weights.
Sure.
And keep in mind, I grew up as an athlete, so this wasn't like I was new to being physically fit. It's just I was always had the thought like, oh, I don't want to lift weights and look like a man type of thing. And then and then I realized I was like, you know what? Like I heard this quote by Ashley Horner, this fitness model, say find beauty in strength. So I remember that moment when I picked that barbell up and I realized how strong physically I was. It changed the mental aspect, and forever changed me forever. It gives me chills even just saying that. But I got into the powerlifting, and then at that time we had moved to Philadelphia. I got out of the military, and my husband at the time, we moved to Philadelphia. He's on a special duty assignment, and that's when things, my marriage goes sideways, I guess, if you will. And so then I had moved to Austin with my son. But during that time, I did some contracting, civilian contracting, and I primarily worked from home at the time. So being in the fitness, I would do meal planning for people, like calculating macros and things like that. So that kind of became my job, from home and raising my little one at the time. And I was very thankful to be able to be at home with him during those younger years. And then everything happened with my marriage. And I remember was applying for jobs all over. And at the time I had met Wes Whitlock through social media. Like he had seen some of my things. It was like, oh, you'd be great to go do some events for us, like running events. And so that's kind of how we got in contact with each other.
Okay.
And so I started to do remotely the athlete sponsorship coordinating stuff. So working remotely, 20 hours a week, handling all that, like affiliate marketing stuff. And I noticed he would start bouncing business ideas off of me. And I didn't realize, like, if you would have told me like business stuff, I'd be like, no way. Like, I don't have that in me. And he's seen something that I didn't see. And so when I was applying for jobs all over, I got a job at the Birmingham VA. And so I'm looking at houses, like I'm about ready to move. And I'll never forget my now ex-husband, he was sitting there. I take the phone call and he was like, Invader Coffee is starting to grow. Like I can't run that and Rogue American. It was still an entity of Rogue American Apparel at the time.
Okay.
Like, I think you'd be a perfect fit to run with that. And so in my mind, I felt like he was proposing as like a remote thing.
Yeah.
And me, Haley, once I get that one track mind, I go. And so I was like, you know what, Austin, I'm moving to Austin. So in a month goes by, like I was literally in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And that whole next chapter started. And I was the director of operations and, trial and error, falling on my face, learning. And that's where I got a lot of that experience, the operations, getting products into retail. I had never done that before. I'll never forget my first time going to the Arnold Sports Festival. I knew nothing about coffee. I knew nothing. I knew I liked it. But I was drinking like Black Folgers coffee in the military. And then here, all of a sudden, here's this air roasted coffee, like gourmet, like it's actually really good. And here I get thrown into this fitness event at the Arnold. So if any of you guys have been to the Arnold, you know how crazy and chaotic it is. And it's loud and people are talking and I'm like selling these products and it was just crazy. All the growth and the learning throughout all that.
What I love is that you seem to be very flexible with whatever comes your way.
Yes.
You're willing to give it a shot. Like, no is not an answer.
Yes. I don't like no. You can ask my daddy. I don't like the word no.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like no is very limiting.
Yes. And there's always someone higher you can go to get your answer, I feel like.
Sure. And when like somebody comes to you with an opportunity, the easy answer is to say no.
Yep.
I mean, there's no risk in no, there's no challenge in no. It just closes the door on what that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also closes the door on the opportunity for growth
It
and
does.
for
Yep.
for success and for trying new things and meeting new people. No is just that it's a roadblock for
It
so
is.
many
It
different
is.
things.
It is. And the older I get, I'll be 38 in June. And how I look at things now, like everything is figure outable.
Yeah,
Everything's figure outable. We'll figure it out.
right.
You know,
There's a way, right?
there's a way.
There's always a way, right?
Yeah.
It's part of our core values here, and we talk about it all the time that somebody's going to figure it out. It might as well be
Yep.
us.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
If a customer calls and they say, "Can you do this, this, and this?" The answer is yes. We don't know how yet, but
they don't know
yes.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll be honest, like we feel like this is very achievable. What you're looking for is very achievable. We feel like we can do it. We're not sure how yet. We'll take you along through every step of the journey. But if we say no, someone's going to say yes.
Yep.
So it might as well be us.
Yep. No, I like that mentality. Like those are the types of companies I like to align with whenever I do, sales marketing type stuff. Like we'll figure it out. You let me get the drop, like hook the sale, and we'll figure it all out.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing that maybe is missing from some manufacturing companies, right? Like
I agree.
trying to bring this back into, what we want to talk about. It's the reality is that everybody needs to take advantage of those opportunities when they come up.
Yeah, because you don't know, it could lead to something completely different. Like I feel like my LinkedIn network is full of very diverse backgrounds of things,
So then you were promoting stuff like crazy, right? You were on social media, you're pushing things, you're getting yourself out there, you're promoting your personal brand, you're building your personal brand, you're building the Rogue American and the coffee and all of that stuff.
Yep.
And I love every part of this journey. That's why it's like you never know where you're going to land.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and so I love just walking through what this looks like. And so where do you go from there?
So then at this point, so Arbonne, I am still, with Rogue American Apparel and Invader Coffee, this company called Arbonne. It's like a health, fitness, nutritional company that's been around now probably 38 years. It is MLM, but I started selling that with a friend, and that started taking off. Like I sold like $6,000 of product in like 3 days to meet like the district manager, opportunity position. And at that time, Braden, who owns Made in America Manufacturing, let me back up for a second. I started an LLC to do marketing stuff, kind of like on the side when COVID happened, just like an additional money making. I didn't know where it was going to go. So fast forward, Braden follows me on Instagram. So a police friend of his who was running for office in Austin was a supporter of Rogue American. So that's how we knew each other.
Okay.
So he had seen I was throwing a stone or doing something in that political person's like shirt, his promotional shirt for his campaign.
Okay.
And Braden had seen that, and that's how we got connected. Well, Braden, with the whole like sales and all that stuff, he's like, wow, dang, like you have a knack for this. So he kind of really was the one that kind of pulled it. Like he was my first big like client, to actually step out and put myself out there. I knew nothing about manufacturing at all. Zero. I didn't know what CNC was. What? A lathe? What? I didn't know any of that, And then here, before you knew it, it's one of those, I would tell them, fake it till you make it. Like I was researching, doing website stuff, like researching at nighttime, just, getting clientele. And it got to a point to where we got so much business, so much traffic, that I got to take basically a month off from doing sales while getting paid, because it was just so much coming in, which was really cool. And then I kind of helped with a little bit of marketing. I would do some of my own marketing stuff with content that they would also use. And then it came to a point where I kind of went back to help Wes with the businesses a little bit. So I kind of parted ways respectfully, in that regard. And it's just amazing to see where it's all gone, just because someone, AKA like Wes, saw something in me for business and sales that I had no idea that I had. Right.
And, but the key is you had to say yes.
Yes. Yep. And I'll tell you what, I was scared. I had no idea what I was doing. I remember getting on my first phone call, because at the beginning when I was still learning, he would kind of hop on some of the calls with me, or like a shop visit, things
Yeah.
like that. And then I remember doing my first one. It was a customer with Boeing. And I was like, I was in the car on the phone, like sweating, like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. And it went well. It went well. But I remember taking that first call on my own. And then when he told me, like, I'm not going to be on it, like, here you go. It's all yours. And I was like,
It's
phone call.
yeah, no, it's fine. It can be very overwhelming,
Yeah.
right? It's baptism by fire. That's what they
Oh,
call
for
that,
sure.
right? I remember when I came on to Alliance full time, it was mostly in a marketing position with like minimal sales. That was the idea, right? We're doing minimal sales. And my father running the company, he's like, "You're going to start doing sales calls." And I was like, "Dad, I don't know anything yet." He's like, "You know plenty. Just make a sales call." And I was like, "No, you're not listening to me. Like, I don't know the stuff yet. I'm not prepared for this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Call this guy. They're not going to ask you any questions. They're interested." I was like, "Okay, I will do that." And so I called them, and what do you know? They asked a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, that's how it always works.
My answer was, I don't know. I'll get back to you. And I did that, and it was fine. It ended up working out well. And that guy was Rick Finney from MR Mold in California. We are still really, really good friends. And so from there, we decided that we were going to do this cross country road trip, not my dad and I, myself and this guy Brad who works for us, and we're going to sell laser welders. We're going to take the laser welder, we're going to put it in the van, we're going to make some appointments, we're going to go do this. And so we had one customer locked down in South Carolina, and so we were going out to see Scott Phipps in South Carolina. And Scott is a great guy. He's a great business owner, really, really smart guy, but he's a good old boy in South Carolina. You know what I mean? And so we get out there and we unload the machine, and we're talking to Scott, and he's asking me questions. Does the machine do this? And I was like, I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you with that answer. And he's like, okay. And he says, can you do this with the machine? I was like, I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you with the answer. And this happened like 4 times in a row. And this is the first time I ever met Scott in my life. And Scott looked at me and he said, "You don't know shit. Why are you here? I'm going to call your dad and tell him you don't know nothing. Why are you here?" And I was like, "I know how to buy food. You want to go get some food?" And we went to a restaurant, and we sat down and we ate, and we have a great relationship, and they ended up buying a machine later, and it was fantastic.
It's a good icebreaker. Yeah, it was more that personable connection.
Yeah. And I mean, I just owned what I didn't know. And it made me realize that, my biggest fear was getting there and not having the answers, and how am I going to rebound from that?
Yep.
And that was easy.
Yeah.
Because it was about making the relationship with the person and not having all the answers. We're not going to have all the answers.
We're not going to. And it kind of boils back down to when they say, like, there's no perfect time to do X, Y, Z. Like, they always say, there's no perfect time to have children. There's no perfect time to do this or do that. Like, we can always justify in our minds, no, I can't do it because of this, And that's what I was doing running from your podcast. No, I can't do it because of, and then here we are today. So.
Yeah. And it's great. But you know what? The timing doesn't have to be right.
Yep.
But the reality is it's not our timing.
Yep.
And so originally when we were going to do this, it wasn't the right timing, and that's fine. And so now God has a different plan for the conversation and what that's going to look like.
Yes. Yeah.
And how it needs to go. Your story wasn't ready to be told yet, maybe.
Yep.
And now we're in a different stage of what that looks like.
Oh, for sure.
And it's just really, really cool, because that would have been one conversation, and then this is a totally different conversation.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it just adds to the depth of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think so many times people just get trapped in their fear, whether that's, should I go into this career? Should I apply for this job? Should I apply for a promotion? No matter what it is, people get stuck in this fear of like, what's the worst that could happen? And that's the only thing that they think in their brain is the worst thing that can happen.
And then also too, like, judgment. What are people going to think about me? What are people going to say about me?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And I just realized I don't care anymore.
No, I don't either. I really don't. I don't.
I mean, I realize that I like when people like me. I think most people like to be liked, but at 47 years old, you're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. There's really no middle.
Yeah.
And my father was the same way. He's still alive, but either you love him or you hate him. Nobody goes, your dad's okay.
Yeah.
Like either they love him or they're like, get this guy away from me. There's no middle ground. And I think that's fair. You know, the Bible talks about that, right? Like, don't be lukewarm. Don't be hot or be cold. Be one. Be a thing.
That's how I was. So back whenever we were kind of talking about all these things, so I had actually moved. I don't know. Remember when we talked last time if I had moved yet already, or if I was in the middle of moving. I knew. So all this time, I didn't really know God yet, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I was back and forth from doing my own thing, helping back with Rogue American, like back and forth. And finally, I had to make a choice. Like I need to, you know. I feel like life's taking me in a different direction. So I had to close that chapter completely, and I moved. Like, obviously, my son's father is here, so it helps, in that regard. It all worked out. But the real reason was I need to start over. Like, I feel like I'm made for more. And at this point, like, I had just been baptized last April, and I knew God was calling me into something. I didn't know what it was. I was still lukewarm, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But, I was going to church here and there, like I was good. I'd been saved. And it wasn't until I started really, if you follow me on social media for some time, I love to read in the morning every day. It's a non-negotiable. I love, different mindset books. I have a whole bookshelf over there by my bed full of books. I started picking up the Bible, and I would read things, didn't really know how to interpret it, didn't have like a plan of action. And once I started reading scripture every day in about September, my whole life started to change. And in January, it's like God was bringing me these people who would help me grow too. And starting January, I started this Bible study group where reading the Bible from front, and then by the end, on New Year's Eve, it'll finish. And I tell you what, I've learned so much. Like now I'm reading a book about discipleship with women, and all these different people are coming into my life. And it's just amazing the way that God has shown up and showed me that I am made for more. And he's revealing himself. He revealed himself big time for me today. And I know that I'm meant to be discipling other people, women especially. So I just launched a coaching thing on Patreon today, coaching for women. Okay. I might look to opening it up, for men specific stuff. I talk a lot about these things on TikTok, about the accountability or the lack of accountability with women, toxic femininity, feminism and all that stuff too. So kind of incorporating that with like a biblical foundation as well. I feel like we've gotten away from all that. And I wasn't raised that way. Like my mom's a great woman, don't get me wrong. My parents are wonderful people. Yeah. But I didn't grow up with that godly foundation. I was kind of growing up thinking like, oh, that's like cult-like, oh, I remember the gal, Genevieve, who actually got me to go to church when I lived in Austin. My son was wrestling at the time, and I meet this mom at wrestling, and her and I hit it off immediately. And I remember thinking, like, the first thing she told me, she's like, I'm Genevieve, I'm a Christian woman. And I remember if my face could have spoke, I know it probably was like, oh, like thinking to myself, why is she telling me that? Like, that's so annoying. Yeah. And then now, now that's me, talking about the Bible, explaining things. All day I could talk about Jesus, and she was the one who planted that seed in me.
It's so cool. I grew up Orthodox. And when I say grew up Orthodox, I mean we went to church on Christmas and Easter and a couple times in between to make my grandparents happy, because they were big parts of the church. Yeah. It was a completely Greek speaking church. I don't speak Greek, but my dad is from Greece, and so it wasn't a priority in my life for a very, very long time. And now it's the only priority in my life. Yes. And there's sometimes where, I don't necessarily feel conflicted in my day-to-day job, because I feel like everywhere you go is a mission field. Oh, and not that I need to convert everybody. That's not my job. But it is my job to live my life in such a way that reflects Jesus, because people may never look at the Bible. They may never read the gospel. They may never want to learn who Jesus is. And the only representation they're going to get is from the person that says that they are living that way, and what they're doing and how they're doing things. And so I can find value in all of those things, how I have relationships with people at work, people in the community, customers, whatever that looks like.
Most definitely.
And keep leading in that way. And I think the way we lead speaks volumes to the people around us.
Oh, for sure. It does. Most definitely. I've lost some people in my life along the way with this, but I've gained so much more, with that. And I feel like my story is just beginning, and every day, like instead of, trying to fit God in my schedule, like God is my schedule. Like I fit things around God, like he comes first. And my son just got baptized last weekend. Last weekend. So that was huge, so that
congratulations with that.
So, thank you. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, being a woman, did you ever feel, because you're talking about toxic femininity and the feminist side of things, and that all bleeds into toxic masculinity and all those things. And my friend Jen talks about that all the time as well. As a woman being in business and manufacturing and whatever field that was, the military, did you ever feel less than or put down or held back for any reason?
So I've spoken out about this, and it's hard to say this without offending I always feel like I offend someone. That's not my intention, is to offend anyone. I don't get offended easily. I feel like my parents raised me to be strong, and I feel like we raise people to have more of a victim mentality now. And I do feel like we need to be raising strong daughters that stand up for themselves in the right way. So for instance, at UPS, I used to load and unload trucks. This was before the military. I was maybe one of 2 or 3 females on the whole shift. I remember, being sexually harassed, comments. I would, shut it down real quick, and then they left me alone. I'm not saying that they were right in doing that.
Sure.
And that's usually where I lose people. We're like, oh, and then they, take what I say and flip it around. But I'm just saying, like, we need to raise stronger daughters in the sense of learning how to stand up for ourselves when it's appropriate, in the right way, but not cutting positive masculinity down in the process.
Right.
And I am a boy mom. I have 3 brothers. I've seen, not to get like personal family stuff, but I've seen my older brothers and the mother of their children, how they were treated and children used against them. And, I just feel like it's a scary time for men. It's a scary time for men. And I raised my son to know, like, you have to be very careful how your actions, because it could come back to backfire you, and trying to arm him, with that defense now, to be cognizant of all those things.
It's all real, right?
It is. It's very real. It's very real.
And I feel like I'm not a woman, so I like to try and ask these questions.
You, Tony.
What's that?
I'll say it for you. It's okay.
No, I like to try and ask these questions, because you hear one side of the story all the time, right? You hear the side of the story where it's very difficult for women to get involved with STEM or manufacturing or be welcome in as engineers or whatever that looks like. And I've never been one of the oppressor people that I know of. And so I like to try and hear those stories from people that maybe have lived through that, and what that looked like and how they fought through it, and what is on the other side. Or is it a thing where we hear about the outlier things, the things that don't happen all the time, but those are the things that we hear about? I don't know. I don't know what the reality is. And like, you've lived that, right? So whether it's the military or where you are in your career today, how has your experience been? Have you found that there's more men that are welcoming and wanting to come alongside you and help you to find success? Or has it been the opposite?
And that's where some females and I don't align with. I've not really had that. I've never had the disadvantage in the sense of like a man being paid more than me or a man getting an opportunity over me. I think it boils down to also confidence too. Like when you walk into a room, I don't need to tell everyone that I'm I'm an alpha female. Like I don't. I just walk in, I do my thing, I carry myself how I carry myself, and those, I feel like it's an energy, a presence that you have. Like for instance, when I was in the military, but to answer your question before I get to that story, I don't feel like I've had to really deal with that. I'm not saying it does not exist.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
I know it does, and I hate that for people, but I've personally not had to deal with that.
Yep.
But I think some of it is too the confidence, and I know I'm talked about sometimes in a bad way, or oh look, who does she think she is coming into manufacturing? Who is this girl? Type of thing. And you just got to carry yourself with confidence and kind of demand them to listen to you in a way of how you carry yourself. When I was in basic training, I remember there was this TI. I'll never forget it. Sergeant at the time, it was Master Sergeant Maldonado, I think. Hispanic guy, bright blue eyes, and had like the real raspy voice. I remember he would get on me, and I would like try to stay clear. Like, I was always doing push-ups. He'd come up behind me, like Trainee Lawrence, like running behind, like run faster, all the things. And I remember during amnesty hour, after I think we had just graduated, and we're getting all of our stuff ready, and we got to ask like any questions without like repercussions. So I asked, I'm like, sir, like, why were you always on me? Like, I did my best to do everything right, to stay out of the limelight, to just do my thing, head down and work. And he said, because I looked like I was a spoiled brat, like I had everything handed to me in life.
He wanted to break you.
And that's exactly what he said. And in my mind, I'm like, I've been working since I was 15. I've had to work for everything I have. Like in my mind, I'm thinking, like, how dare him, but it's in return, it's just fuel,
Right.
Yep.
And sometimes you're going to have that, right? And I think there's a healthy difference between maybe what he was trying to do and like ball busting, and that was a thing, right? People used to do that.
I understand it. Oh yeah.
And people used to do that. Like that like you're a boy mom, you have brothers, like sometimes the ball busting is relationship building,
Yes.
and some of it is like toughening you up, preparing you for what's going to be taking place and what's happening. When you're in the military and you're going to go fight somewhere, the enemy's not going to come up and be like, your nails look amazing.
Yeah, not at all.
How did you get those curls? Like, you better have a thick skin. And so it's helping you to be stronger when you need to be stronger.
For sure.
Yep. Now, when you are working at, UPS or, whatever else the job is, nobody's really trying to kill you, but you still have to, you're going to go through adversity and difficult times. And I think it's good to have a thick skin. Again, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that sexual harassment is ever a good thing, or holding people down for whatever reason is a good thing, or excluding somebody because they're a woman or whatever else. I don't ever think that's a good thing. But I do think that there was a time where whatever industry we were in, there was like a hazing. Hazing's a bad word too, but a toughening up and preparing people for the future and what's to come.
Yep. I also too, and I get flack for this too sometimes. I didn't know what this term was. Someone called me a pick-me girl, and I had to go to ChatGPT and look up what a pick-me girl was. And I'm like, well, if that's not the definition of a feminism starter pack, then I don't know what is. Because I was like, basically in a nutshell, like telling you like you're just trying to please men, I guess. No, I'm a boy mom. I grew up with all brothers. I see what's going on here. I'm a free thinker, and I forgot where I was going with that. But I just feel like the whole culture as a whole like needs to change. The original feminism, I think, had a great intention. It's just we have strayed from that.
Yeah.
Drastically.
Well, this is where I'll get some hate now. I don't see you as a pick-me girl at all.
I don't either.
From what I've heard from my daughters, where you just do everything to be liked and you're putting stuff out there for people to pay attention to you. Like, I don't see that at all. I see strength in you, which is not that. you just happen to have the same likes and interest as some of the guys that might be commenting or whatever that looks like,
Yes.
which is a totally different thing. I was going through some of your LinkedIn posts today, just catching back up before we had the conversation. And what I appreciated was the fact that you're not putting it all out there, if that makes sense, right? I feel like right now there is a group of people who are letting it all hang out.
Yes.
And I mean, that's the best way I know how to put it in a clean way. There's not content. And even if there is content, it's based on like, look at my picture, look at who I am. And then if you read through some of those comments, there's not much there.
Yes.
And I hate that for women, and I hate that for the industry, and I hate that that's what women are putting themselves through, is objectifying themselves in a new medium, which is about business and getting work and all of those sorts of things. And then women are going to be upset, and they're going to say, I'm more than that. Well,
for sure.
Then show more than that. And I mean, don't show more than that. Show less than that.
I know what you mean. Like, be the change. And that's how I, like, if you could look at my Instagram, which I tagged you in my story earlier, I found you on there. I try to be that change with that. Like, I've always been a woman that dresses, I would say, pretty modest. Like, I've never been that type, dressing scandalous, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I speak out a lot about this on TikTok. And that's actually grown a lot of my following there. I do think, especially now, we're raising, and this boils back down to the toxic femininity. It all kind of ties into it. We're raising a generation of young ladies who I don't feel children should be on social media to begin with. But then you're seeing all the filters, all the fake, the Photoshop. I'm talking the drastic filters, not just smoothing a pimple out or changing the colors of your picture. I'm talking completely adding your lips, doing all the fake stuff. And then these young girls are scrolling through, and even women too, like finding themselves like, crap, well, I don't look like that. Like and then it's just a whole spiral of issues that we're causing with all this stuff. And women, and that's what my slogan that I say on TikTok, let's make women respectable again. So when you said about the manufacturing, I kind of chuckled a little, but it's true, making women respectable again. Like, women will cry out, oh, I want a good man. I want a good man. Like, what are you bringing to the table there, sister? Like, some boobs hanging out. That's about all you got.
Right. And it makes it very difficult.
Sure.
And, I just laugh when I see that on LinkedIn sometimes.
Yes. LinkedIn of all places. Like,
of all places. I mean, I joked with my my son and my daughter one time. I'm not going to say who, but there was somebody that they make a lot of LinkedIn posts, and a lot of the pictures look like they're all professional model posts and all kinds of stuff and whatever. And there's thousands of comments and things. I said, I feel like I actually have things to say, but nobody wants to read the things that I have to say.
Yeah.
If I had this fake profile of some woman, I feel like people would listen to what I had to say more, or they would read it. I don't know if they would necessarily listen, but they would listen. I think it would get much more exposure, which it's a terrible thing to say.
It's sad.
It's a terrible thing to say, but I do feel like it's a reality.
Yeah. Well, it kind of boils down to the whole, which I guess I didn't realize this until I went down my journey with Christ, the whole lust, like worldly, stuff. Like, you don't realize how much of that is around us.
Yes.
Until you open your eyes.
Yeah.
It's OnlyFans. Every time I turn around, it's OnlyFans stuff on social media. And I feel like I have a pretty good algorithm. Like, I even, over the years have unfollowed like fitness models. Like, it's, pretty much in line with how I am. And every once in a while, like, it'll throw something in there, or I'll get like a bot, like an OnlyFans bot, watching my story, and I immediately block them. Like, I don't want that type of energy.
Yes.
On any of my stuff. And even like on social media, unless you put a paper sack over your head and post a picture, at some point as a female, you're going to get someone commenting oh, you're beautiful, or, whatever, I don't acknowledge those comments. It's not that I'm trying to be rude or that I don't appreciate a nice comment. I don't entertain that stuff. So if you go on any of my social media and you look through, and if someone says, I don't acknowledge it. I don't acknowledge it. Or I delete it too.
Listen, LinkedIn is not the place for that.
No, it's turned into like this whole like dating site.
It's
thing.
weird.
Like, it is very weird.
It's really, really weird.
Yes.
And it's bad.
It's
like,
bad. I know.
Here's two messages. Okay. If you're a guy and you're listening to this and you're on LinkedIn and you see an attractive woman on there and she's posting things, don't tell her she's beautiful on there.
Don't be a snake. Don't be slimy.
That's weird, right? And other people are going to look at that and they're going to say, this dude is weird. He is using LinkedIn for this. Like, I would much rather, like, you also probably shouldn't lead right into like, how can I do work for you? But that's better than, hey, you're hot, or, just stop it. That's not what LinkedIn is for. LinkedIn is not for dating. It's not,
I do enjoy some, like, not just business posts and some personal posts in the sense of kind of sharing, especially like someone like me, like in sales. I do try to share a little bit of my personal life to a degree.
Yes.
So they can kind of understand the type of person that I am. But yeah, like I've seen pictures of women like out at the nightclub and they're in their little dresses and like,
come on.
that's just not my thing. And it's one thing I want to add to this. I've been told before, you're coming off, like your TikTok videos are coming off very judgmental. That's one thing that people like to say. You're being judgmental. No, just because I don't agree with how you're conducting yourself doesn't mean I would still help you. If your tire was flat on the side of the road, I'd still help you in a heartbeat. But I feel like too, as Christians, calling people out for things that are wrong, it does not make you judgmental.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. Allowing bad behavior is not loving, right? If you actually care about that person and their future, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, listen, you want to post pictures of yourself, however you want to post them, that's fine. All I'm saying is I don't think it's being received the way that you think it's being received. Correct. And I don't think it's going to help your cause when you say we want to be respected. And but there's only one way to say it, right?
Yeah. But it's going to ruffle. But see, I feel like whenever people get upset about that, they're projecting onto other people. That's what it's a projection thing. It's because you've tapped into something that kind of struck a chord with them. And I feel like a lot of people, they need to look inward with stuff. And I'm not perfect. I mess up every day.
Oh, yeah.
I sin, but I'm not a perfect person, nor I don't want to portray that I try to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think accountability is a huge thing. People lack, men and women, accountability.
Of course.
And I even say, I had talked about this too on TikTok. I think even though I felt like I was a good woman, I've always been a good person. I feel like in my marriage, when we were young, we were together for 10 years, lacked accountability with some of my actions. Even though I cooked, I cleaned, I took care of our son, I did all these things, but it still didn't make me a good wife. And it boils back down to we didn't have a foundation of God.
Yeah. Yeah. Jennifer Yale and I do a different show called Living the Good Life. And we break down what that looks like to live the good life. And we're walking through the Sermon on the Mount together. And that's every Tuesday at 1:30. So I got Tuesday at 1:30. Yeah. We should have you be a guest too.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I would love to.
What's interesting is you guys are like the perfect tag team in that she is a biblical masculinity coach and you're working with women for toxic femininity. And both of those things are really, really important today.
Yes.
But my point is that a lot of times we wonder and we wish that there was a book that told us how to do life, how to do business, how to do all of these things.
Parenting, all the things.
Yeah. And there is.
The Bible.
We just don't want to read it, right?
Yes.
Like when, like in manufacturing, we have an instruction manual. Like something comes in, there's an instruction manual. You're going to build something, you have blueprints. Everything has a right way to do it. And you have to listen to the person that created it on how to do those things.
Yes.
In life, everybody says, do what you think. Follow your heart. Do what you
I
want.
was just about to say it. Follow your heart's a big one.
Do what you want,
Yeah.
right?
Manifest.
When you go to IKEA and you buy furniture, nobody says put it together however you want to.
Yep.
They say follow the pictures, follow the drawings, follow the blueprint, follow the thing that the person that created it is telling you to do so that you get the best result.
Yes.
And we have that same thing. So, and it works for every area of our lives if we would just apply it.
Yep. I completely agree. I get told all the time, like, now all you do is talk about Jesus. And now Genevieve, like when she told me I'm a Christian woman, and I was like, I get it. I used to be that person. Now God is in every aspect of my life in every capacity, even down to, I still have friends, acquaintances that I might not agree with some of their choices in life.
Sure.
I'm not going to condone it. But as a person, like, I love you as a person, and I'm here for you if you need anything. But it's just very eye-opening, and all along, like, I feel like we're constantly searching for things, and it's all right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right in front of us.
We just yesterday, Jen and I were talking about blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. And we talked about that idea that we all go through periods where we're empty.
Yes.
And we are looking for that thing to fill us up, right? And the metaphor of hunger and thirst is something that we have all experienced. And the pain of being hungry and thirsty and looking for that next meal or that next drink is something that we all experience. The question is, what are you turning to fill that hunger or that thirst? Are you running to the pantry and housing a bag of chips?
Yep.
Or are you going to go make a steak that is going to actually fill you and sustain you and give you the nourishment that you need, that the fuel that you need, right? When you're in the middle of whatever it is, are you going to the instruction manual, or are you trying to figure this out on your own? It's a real thing that we all go through every single day.
Yes. Yep.
So you have other stuff going on right now. I mean, we've kept you for like an hour. You have now shifted. We're digging back in. You have shifted now from doing the manufacturing stuff, from the apparel line. Now you have your own gig. What are you doing now?
So I still contract my services out for sales. So those listening, if you guys, want an outside salesperson, please, reach out to me. So that's kind of still there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but I have an LLC for government contracting. So I actually just renewed my SAM.gov registration last night, actually, right before bed. But so that's another thing.
What does that mean?
So government contracting. So manufacturing, construction, demolition.
Okay.
It really depends what code you put underneath, what you want to go for. So basically, as a female, I have the SDVOSB, the Service Disabled Veteran Small Business Certification, Women-Owned certification as well. So contracts that are awarded, it depends on what category. So many contracts are awarded per year, so many dollars. And say there was, I don't know.
So a company needs laser welding done.
Yeah.
They could contact you.
I can go submit the bid if I get picked up for it. Obviously, I'm not the one welding the stuff.
No, we would be.
I find a company, I subcontract it out. Yeah, you. Yeah.
We would be. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I have a higher chance of getting the contract being female and veteran-owned small business, small veteran disabled business as well. So that's right here. And it's another thing, kind of fear, what we were talking about. Like, it's kind of there. It's all ready to go.
Yeah.
It's just kind of been dangling, like, in fear, like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. What if I fall on my face? What if I this? But God was telling me, like, I got you, like, go. So that's there. The coaching with women, that just kind of came about. So I'm starting a podcast, Grace in the Chaos.
Okay.
And honestly, this kind of transpired from TikTok and my Instagram stories. Like, a lot of things that I talk about on TikTok, people would write out, you need to start a podcast. You need to, like, get this message out. You need to do this. And so I have everything ready to go. I'm just trying to solidify guests to be on.
So what are you going to be talking about in Grace and the Chaos?
So I want it to be relatable to everyone. I don't want it to just be a biblical thing. I don't want it to just be women. Like, I want it to be relatable, different opinions, different views. Like, being on TikTok and all that stuff, I've realized, or even just in general on my faith journey, the world pulls at you. And it's kind of, I want to talk about, me growing through my faith while the world's still trying to point me Botox, fillers, this, all the different things. And I want to encompass all that life stuff, marriage, dating nowadays. The dating culture is so skewed, which I'm
so glad I don't have to do that. Man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that my wife tolerates me and she loves me. I don't want to deal with that.
No.
That sounds horrible.
We're in the trenches out here, Tony.
That sounds horrible. I'm not going to lie. That sounds, ugh.
I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So, I just don't know. God's going to have to send a man at my doorstep. I mean, at this point. But so just all these things accompanying being, raising children, adolescents in these times when social media is telling them to do this, and just all the different things that the world is throwing at us, and trying to stay that path. So grace in the chaos, just figuring life out. So I want it to be relatable to all different types of people. Even if someone doesn't agree with me, I would love to have them on as well, because I feel like it's an opportunity to have a conversation, to learn, to grow, and vice versa. They can learn and grow from me. And funny, I know we've been talking a lot about God, but I didn't mention this. I was an atheist. I was an atheist. And I want to tell this because I feel compelled to tell a little bit of my
You go, girl. Let it go. Let it go. Let it fly.
I've not actually really talked about this at all. So y'all are the first to really hear this. I've told people, but not on social media. I went through a period where I grew up going to church with my aunt. My parents did not go to church, kind of anti-church, all that. Went to church with her, grew up believing in God. Didn't really know anything though. My brother passed away in 2005 unexpectedly at the age of 24. So that was kind of tragic. So I got kind of angry, like there's no way God, like why would he take him so young? He's got children. And so then I went to Iraq, and I remember like even as a medic, like seeing people die, like why is this happening? Like God, like these innocent people are dying. Like why is there war? So I just became kind of angry, I guess. I did not believe. I met my, now ex-husband, and he grew up in the church. But when I had met him, it was more of, I would say more agnostic.
Okay.
Agnostic, maybe borderline, back and forth, atheist. And so I was just living life on my own, and look at all the things that happened, right before me. So I get diagnosed with the MS. So fast forward, and I'll have to find the medical records to like show y'all the proof in this. I had a blind spot in my left eye, and the ophthalmologist, I believe it was when we were in Arizona, was like, you could eventually go blind in your left eye, and that's a side effect of MS. And there's the blind spot. He showed it to me on the little scan. I remember just kind of praying, not religiously, but just kind of like throwing it out there, like, God, like, please don't let me go blind, I go back a year later and get the scan and it's gone. It's gone.
Yep.
It's so crazy. That right there was like the, okay. And then Genevieve, it's gonna make me cry. Genevieve, when I met her at wrestling, that's when she was like, I'd really love for you to go to church with me. And I was like, I don't know about that. And I didn't tell her that I was coming. I just showed up, sat by myself, and a song came on that I would sing with my aunt in church when I was young. And I remember I had never felt the Holy Spirit like that before. I remember it coming around. I just start crying in church. And from then on, God had a hold of my heart and, did his magic.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It truly is amazing. And it's one of those things that people don't understand until they understand it.
Yes.
And
it's hard to explain until you're going through it or have gone through it.
Yeah. We had a similar situation with my daughter where she went to the ophthalmologist and they found a spot in her eye or there was pressure in her eye. There was something that was swollen in her eye. I don't remember exactly what it was. And they said she needs to go to the hospital today. Well, we were having a birthday party for her, or I think it was for her, with our family and everything. So as soon as that was over, we went back to the doctor. They said it's not like where we have to take an ambulance right now. You have to go, but you definitely need to come back today.
Like the intraocular type pressure type
yeah,
stuff?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't totally remember. Something was swollen. Something was not what it was supposed to be. And it was sending red flags.
Yeah.
And so we went to the immediate care hospital and we were there for hours. And then the doctor came in, they were like, we're rushing you to Lurie's Children's Hospital.
Oh.
And we're like, what? Okay.
Wow.
And so this is like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night. And they rush us to the hospital. I put her in the ambulance. Her and Kelly go to the hospital, and I followed them and drove, and we went. And then they were doing the CT scans and all the scans that they need to do. And, Kelly and I were sitting in the waiting room, and, we were both doing our own prayer. We were letting the people in our friend group and our community group and our church know what was going on. And people just kept saying, yeah, we're praying for you. We're praying for you. We're praying for you. And the next day they couldn't find anything. Like it was gone. Like the need to rush was gone. Like this thing that the specialists were coming in for, and all of these things were gone.
Wow.
And, you could say it's a fluke. You could say that they thought they saw something, but they didn't see something. Or you can say that they saw something and then they didn't see something.
Yep.
And that's the way that I choose to look at it.
Yep.
And it's just another thing that helps to grow our faith and our testimony of why we believe what we believe. When people ask that question, it's not hollow. It's filled with proof after proof after proof. Now, some people say it's going to be coincidence, and that's fine. That's up to them to say it's coincidence.
Yep.
I don't believe in coincidence.
I don't either. It's God. It's God.
Yeah.
And I remember my son one time had asked me, bless his little heart, he's like, Mom, well, this is before he got baptized. And I could feel God pulling at his heart. Like and I didn't push it. I talked to a youth pastor. He's like, don't push it on him. Just live your life, like model your behavior, and it'll follow. So that's what happened. But I remember him asking me, Mom, like, what if all this time, like, you're believing and then it's not even real? And I'm like, well, you know what? Hypothetically, I mean, I know God is real, heaven's real. But hypothetically, I'm going to answer your question and say, we don't know. Okay. We don't know.
Sure.
And what if I go through life believing in something and it makes me a better mom? It makes me more patient, makes me a better friend. I show up to the world better. All these different things, more loving like Jesus. Those aren't bad things. Those are all good things that make me better and make those around me that come in contact with me better. So how's that a bad thing to have faith in something that it just makes you a better person all around? So
and that's just true. Like even Joe Rogan has been saying that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Joe Rogan used to be the guy that was
for sure.
Anti-Christianity and thought it was ridiculous and silly and stupid and all those things.
I remember.
And I can't say that he's a Christian now. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I have no place to do that. But there's a respect, at least. There's a respect for what that is, and a recognition that people who are now, are there people who say that they're Christians that live horrible, judgmental, mean lives and use that as a crutch to treat people horribly? Yes, that is a reality. Mm-hmm. But a true Christian is not doing that. And you can see a difference in the fruit and the way that they live their lives.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like a revolution's going on though. Like you even see certain things, in Hollywood starting to slowly start to change. Like even the Russell Brand and, people starting to speak out, some of the, the professional athletes, so it's beautiful to be part of that.
And I haven't listened to, or I haven't read Jeremy Renner's book. The guy that plays Hawkeye in all the Avenger movies.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen a couple interviews that he's done now, or clips of them, because he got run over by that snowplow.
Oh wow! I don't think I knew that.
2 years ago, he got run over by a snowplow, like one of those big snowplows with the tracks and everything, and it broke like 48 bones in his body, crushed his face. He died. His eye was hanging out, like all this stuff, and they put him back together. And he talks about how when he was dead, he felt the presence of God, and it was just all love, and he can't explain what that is. And again, I don't want to speak for him because I haven't read all the stuff and I haven't listened to all the stuff, but what I heard made me think, well, here we go again. Here's another story of like God's redemption and what that looks like in Hollywood and how that story is going to keep going. I don't know if did you watch the latest Jamie Foxx special on Netflix?
Is that the one where he had the aneurysm? And then
Yeah, where he talks about it.
Yes, yes.
That was amazing.
It was good. Yes.
I mean, the comedy wasn't fantastic,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the
I know what
show
you're
was
doing.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the message that he put forth was life-changing to probably a lot of people that never knew his perspective on things, right? Because he was just Jamie Foxx, the entertainer, the comedian.
Yeah.
But his story is amazing.
And
Yeah,
I agree too. I
it's
really feel
so good.
I don't know if you follow some of the music world, but like Brandon Lake is a big artist right now. I love his music. He like with the Jelly Roll and all the things. I've seen a lot of people speak out against him, like, "Oh, you're a Christian man. You're aligning with these people," and he went to Stagecoach. Imagine being a Christian and you're being upset at the words getting out. Like that's the point. That's the point. You want to spread the message, plant those seeds. Like think of all those people that got to listen.
Yeah, and you don't have to look that far.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read the book, right? It's not shocking that happened because they said the same thing to Jesus. Why are you with those people?
Yes, the sinners and the tax collectors.
Why are you with them? You're supposed to be with us. You're supposed to be with the good people. Why are you talking to them?
Yeah.
Well, because I came to save the sick, not the healthy.
You can flip tables.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. So good. So good. Listen, we have covered everything.
Yes.
Did you think that this was going to be what this was?
No, it's
because I didn't really. I didn't know what to expect today.
I could do this every day, Tony.
I know, it's so much fun,
and I could go off on tangents.
Yeah, well, listen, we all can. It's kind of fun. I want to play 5 questions with you, and then I'll let you go because these are a little bit ridiculous questions.
Okay.
If it'll work. Come on, you can do it. If you had to make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be?
That rule be one rule that everyone had to follow. See, this is the thinking whenever my mind like just shuts off.
Okay. Well, listen, if you don't want to play this, that's fine too.
No, I totally will. One rule that people had to follow. I would say they had to tell the truth, even if it was going to hurt someone's feelings.
Oh, that's good.
Like a thought bubble, like have the thought bubble above your head.
Yeah, that's good. Before that, my other favorite one that I heard the other day was "Don't be a jerk."
There you go.
I mean, so easy.
Yeah. Could you imagine though if the whole world like modeled that, like "Don't be a jerk"?
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, what a difficult rule.
Yep.
Number 2. What is the one thing? What is the one thing that you're superstitious about?
Honestly, I don't have any superstitions.
Good for you.
I don't. Maybe back in the day I would have, maybe. I honestly had no superstitions. To be honest, not to go off on like a tangent, I used to be before this all started with my journey with Christ, I'm big into the mindset, Stoicism, which I still love Stoicism. I feel like some of it goes hand in hand with the Bible. I was big into manifestation, Zodiac, not saying that I was following Zodiac like as my god, not like that, but like the horoscopes and all these things. And I'm like, anti all that stuff. But I would say now no superstitions for sure.
Cool. Yeah, my I have 2 things that I'm weird about. Every time I go to the bathroom, I take 3 paper towels. I think 3 paper towels is the optimal number of paper towels to wash your hands and dry your hands. I don't like the hand dryer machines. I think they're stupid. 3 paper towels. And I always have to put my right shoe on first. If I pick up my left shoe, I put it down, and I pick up my right shoe and I put my right shoe on.
Yeah.
I don't think
if we're going like that, maybe
I don't think anything bad is going to happen. It's just, it makes me comfortable.
Like when I curl my hair, I always do the left side first and then go to the right. Like it's like, so certain things like that, like I have my patterns, but
I like that better. Pattern. That's good.
Pattern. That's
good.
Pattern.
Yeah. It makes me sound less crazy if it's a pattern.
No judgment. It's okay.
Yeah. Question 3. If you swapped genders for the day, how would you spend your time?
Oh, how would I spend my time? So if I was a man, how would I spend my time? Scrolling on my phone in the bathroom on the toilet.
You can do that as a woman.
I know I can. Yeah, I guess I could do that as well.
There's no rules.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a hard one. Because I kind of feel like I'm kind of a guy's girl to begin with. Like, I don't know. I'm not very high maintenance.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I love to go fishing with my son. I like to do, not saying that women can't do those things,
Totally.
but like, I don't know. I like a good bourbon. I like,
Yeah.
watching sports. So I don't know. Because I kind of already do some of the things that would be quote unquote what men do.
I said, I would do sales.
So, there you go.
Yeah. As long as I didn't look like this as a woman, that would
Put a
be
wig
bad.
on.
Yeah.
Get some lashes.
Yeah. Question number 4. If animals could talk, what would be the rudest and why?
So my son has a pet snake, a ball python named Smaug, Smaug, from I think Lord of the Rings. I think.
All right.
So he's the only pet that we have right now. So I'm thinking of it. I don't like snakes.
Is that because it ate the rest of them?
Well, I just posted on my story on Instagram a snake eating another snake. We went fishing the other night at the local pond close by here in Texas, and it was disgusting to watch that. But I know it's nature and it's part of life. But I would say if an animal could talk, it would the rudest thing. Like, are you saying if it could say something to me specifically, or just like people
just in general? Like, I mean, just what animal do you think would be the rudest?
What would be the rudest? I would say cats. Like, cats are judgmental. I'd say cats would be the rudest.
That is the most popular answer.
I feel like they're very judgy.
Yeah. I'm starting to lean.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
No, you got it. You got it. I'm telling you, that's the number one answer that people say. I think what's creeping up closely behind cats is geese.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Those things.
I always feel like they're going to attack me. Like,
yeah, because they do.
They do. I know. I told my son the other day, we were coming back from Dallas a few weeks back from a soccer game, and we stopped in Blanco, Texas, and like threw the poles in. And his dad was with us too, and there was these geese coming. And my son was like, "Oh, I want to go." I was like, "I would not get close to them because they do this little call, and it makes the rest of them come, and they start swarming." And he didn't believe me. I'm like, "Well, I'm one of those moms. Like, go figure it out then.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you go do it."
Jack, my son goes to Illinois Wesleyan, and there's one goose who he's an a-hole. He terrorizes people. He sits in the middle of the sidewalk, and if people walk towards him, he chases them away. Like, we saw this goose attacking a dude and his dog, and like the dog ran away. Like, come on, you're a dog. Be a dog.
Yeah. I didn't realize that Illinois. I forgot. I don't know if I told you I'm from Decatur, Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember if I told you that or not.
That's because it was an hour ago.
Yeah, I know.
No, we're good. And the last question: how many kindergarten kids could you take in a fight before you were outnumbered?
Oh, no participation trophies here. I'll put them all in my arms. Like, I'd say a full class.
A full class. You're taking down the full class. 30 kindergartners going down.
Dropping. My secret move. My son is 12 and a half now. He still has not grasped the concept that mom's going to do is sweep the leg. Like, he'll go to wrestle with me, and I get him every time. I'm like, you would think you'd figure it out by now. So I'd be sweeping the leg of all those little kids.
That's a good move.
Yeah.
I think if you just pick up one of them by the legs and you use them as a weapon,
yep.
You're going to take out a bunch of kids, and the rest of them are going to run in fear, or they're going to want their turn.
Yeah, no, totally. They'll want their turn. Because I tell you what, my son is so rough and tumble that even like wrestling, like the rougher I get, the more it like fires him up.
Yes.
But now he's getting to the age like he's faster than me. He plays soccer, like he's quick, but I'm stronger. And so it irks him. I still beat him arm wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, someday you're going to be stronger than mom, but not today.
At 12 and a half, I mean, I know you're tough, but I don't think it's going to be that long. Not because I'm doubting you, but because those kids, they get strong fast.
They do.
And the reality is we get older.
Oh, for sure.
And so as we get older, we get a little bit weaker. I don't want to admit that.
Yeah. Well, I know that's why I tell them all the time. Like, that's why, training for life, not for trophies type of thing. Like,
Yeah,
train
I
to
like
be
that.
strong.
So how do people get a hold of you if they want to, one, hear this podcast when it happens, or find out about coaching, or just have you do something for them, whether that's marketing or sales or whatever leads you in life next?
Yeah, so I'm very responsive. So I would say the quickest way would either be shoot me a message on LinkedIn if you're seeing this on LinkedIn, and I'll respond. Or you can email me at hrventures, VENTURESTX, hrventurestx@gmail.com. If you go look at some of my posts, you'll see the email on there as well. I think it's even in my contact on my LinkedIn. I'm very active on Instagram and TikTok. And Facebook, I don't really use a whole lot. That's kind of
old.
Kind of obsolete for me.
Yeah.
So boring.
I scroll on it, but that's
Yeah.
basically it.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff because they've totally changed the algorithms. I'm seeing stuff that I never even signed up for. I don't know what,
sure.
I don't know what this is. I don't know why
yeah.
I'm seeing it. I don't know why it's there. I don't know why I look at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's so
Yeah,
many
that's
things.
how they can get hold of me. Like I said, I still do contract my services out for sales, outside sales. I have done in the past coaching calls in the sense of if you have an e-commerce store, say you're a new business up and starting, you have this product, but you don't really know how to market it and get it out there, how to build a Shopify website. I've actually coached people on that.
Okay.
And kind of gone through their website. Okay, I would change this. I would add this. I do affiliate marketing. So if you have a product, I have a pretty decent reach with social media platforms. Let me know if it's got to be something that I align with. I'm not the type to just promote a product for commission. It's got to be something that I believe in.
Absolutely.
But I'm open to that. Any sort of e-commerce help, sales, business development. If you have a trade show, I love trade shows. So I have no problem learning a product and going and represent your company.
As we said before, there is only damage in the no, not in the yes.
Yes.
You are one of those people that says yes and gets involved and wants to help people. And I think that's amazing.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you.
We end every show with a prayer. Do you, if you're still with us and you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat. Haley, do you have any prayer? Oh, I'm going to shut this off because we don't need to keep looking at how many kindergartners could you destroy when we're talking about prayer.
Knocking kids over.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like us to pray for?
For me, you know what? I would say for me personally, for God to continue guiding me on how to show up for those close to me. I feel like there's some people in my life that I know that they need that help, that assistance, and for God to guide me on how I can help them.
Yeah. Your steps, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. If you are still with us and you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat and we will see those as well. But I'm going to pray for us and then I will let you go about the rest of your day.
Okay.
Because man, it's been a great conversation.
It has. My kiddo, I'm watching out the window. I'm in my bedroom. He's going to be getting off the bus. And if you I'll hear that door open, Mom.
And then we'll have another guest.
Yeah. Oh, and he'll talk your ear off too.
And it'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for Haley. Thank you for her commitment to serving you and serving others and saying yes to different things. We just pray that this conversation would be a blessing to so many people that are going through difficult seasons and wondering where their next change is going to be and how to navigate those situations when they come up. The answer is you. And so we just ask that you would give us guidance, that you would give us discernment to understand who we need to talk to, when we need to talk to them, how we need to talk to them, and how we need to show up for you in their lives. We just pray that you would continue to direct us and that we could trust you and know that we can trust you in all things, even when it's difficult and hard and scary and unknown. We don't have to know all things as long as we know you. And so we just pray that you would be with us and that you would watch over us and that we can continue to do this week after week. We love you. We thank you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Haley, it has been a pleasure to chat with you for this
Thank you so much.
Hour and 30 minutes.
I did not expect this on my bingo card for the day.
Okay? Yeah, me neither.
I was about to go to the gym earlier. I was in the bathroom, like having a moment, and then I saw your message, and then here we are. So,
and I honestly, I was sitting there yesterday. I was like, we don't have a show tomorrow. It'll be fine. We don't need to do one. I don't need to do that.
There you go.
And then I was sitting at my desk, and I was like, I mean, I don't have anything else to do at that time. It's booked out. I might as well. I'm going to throw a Hail Mary. And then I saw your post, and I was like, oh, let's see. I honestly, I really did just appreciate the things that you were saying and the direction you were taking things. And here we are.
Well, thank you.
It was great.
Well, thank you for giving me a platform and having me on your show. And I hope that this whole thing, if y'all made it to the end, I hope something, or even if you hopped in, I hope someone resonated with this. And yeah.
No, I agree. I'm going to put you on in our little hold area. Give me like 2 minutes, and then you and I can final up.
For sure. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for joining.
All right, Haley, I'm going to put you on hold, and then we'll wrap up. Thanks.
All right.
Everybody, that is Haley Lawrence. It's a little bit different show than what we typically do. Not all manufacturing, but it is about change, and life is all about change, and change happens, right? And we don't get to plan for it. We don't get to plan for all the things that are happening in our lives. We've all made plans in our life, and then God laughs at us and says, your plan is cute. Wait till you see what I do. And so what do you do when that happens? You roll with it, and you trust that it's going to work out the way that it's supposed to. Whether that's in life, any area of life, in business, and in your relationships, in your family, you can't control all the things. Plans change, and that's okay. I hope that you enjoyed today. I know that I enjoyed today, but I'm biased. So on behalf of myself and Haley, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care, and God bless.